And I can be counseling couples, and I'll now say, okay, in this counseling session, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to allow the woman to talk. So the man, please, you're going to keep quiet for as long as your wife is going to talk. All right? And then when it gets to the talk, man is done speaking, I tell the man, now that you are going to speak, please, woman, you will learn to be quiet. Please do not say a word until this man finishes talking. I know why I do that. I do that as a way of regulating their emotions and as a way of making them hear themselves and then understand their partner's perspectives. You see, one of the things I've noticed doing that is that by the time I do not allow any other person, anybody, any of them to intrude, all right, to interfere, I realize that by the time one person finishes talking and the other person is talking, I can see that their emotions begin to calm down. Because at this point in time, and as they are in front of me, they are not listening to respond. They are now listening to understand their partner's perspectives. So it has helped me a great deal. It has helped a lot. It has helped a lot. And for everyone listening to me, please, I would like you to take your time to perhaps go over the voice notes again or go over this video again. Please do not listen to respond. Listen to understand. When we learn this skill, we are going to have limited marital crisis and relationship crisis. I am telling you, it will reduce. It will reduce drastically because you are going to understand what your partner is saying, and based on that understanding, you will now respond later. Many times we just react, and then there'll be escalation, and before you know, the name calling will enter. Before you know, people are now beginning to throw blows. Before you know, everything just spoils. So communication, listening skill is important. It's an important skill that we need to learn in relationship, and love will not teach you these things. Love will not teach you these things. I have a whole course on listening. All right, I have a course on communication intelligence. I have a course on listening, which is part of communication intelligence, and at the right time I'm going to be teaching us on this platform. Are you following so far? I can see couple of responses here, and that is so encouraging. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for putting up your comment. Dr. Promise, it's good to have you on the platform today. So, as like I was saying, love does not automatically teach patience. It doesn't. These are emotional intelligence I want to bring out now. I told us, I said, there is one of the relationship skills you need to learn is emotional intelligence. Now, I want to bring up some few things. Number one, you need to learn patience. You need to learn how to be patient with your partner or patient with anybody for as long as you are relating with the people. People are different level of understanding, so you need to be patient. People are also different level of growth, so you need to be patient. If you do not learn this emotional skill, you are going to have issues with anybody. This is not even about the man and the woman, or couples and individuals intending to get married. I'm talking about general relationships. You are going to have issues in all your relationships if you do not know how to be patient with people. One of the things I'm learning, I'm not saying I'm perfect yet, I'm learning, is how to be patient with people in terms of allowing them to grow. All right, I am learning it, because I might be quick to learning or quick to growing, but what about others? So this is an emotional intelligence you need to actually go for. Number two is empathy. I've told us before, I say, when we consider our partners in our decisions, it's going to help us to have a profitable and a blissful relationship. Let me say this way. If you think about the consequence of your action in the life of your partner, it will definitely regulate your behavior. Are we still together? If you take time to think about the outcome, all right, the impact of your action on the life of your partner, it will help us to behave well. Let me give an illustration in the next slide. Let's say, for example, there is an urge to go outside the marriage to go and maybe urge for infidelity. Now, the question is infidelity good? No. Now, when you go out there and perhaps commit adultery, What is the impact of that action on the mind first? The mind of your partner first. What is the long-term impact of that action? Are we following at all? Empathy. That is, you consider, you sympathize with your partner. Even if eventually the person forgives. What about the deposit you have made on the mind of this person? See, when we consider our partner, there's I taught somewhere and I preached somewhere and I said that in the Holy Writ, one of the reasons, our master Moses in the scripture said that people can divorce is because he noticed that the heart of people is so hard. He said, because of your hard-heartedness, I've given the instruction that you can divorce on certain grounds. Now, let me bring it home. There are people that their heart so hard that they don't consider the impact of their behavior, their actions, all right, their reactions on the lives of their partners. And that's one of the things we must look at critically. One of the emotional intelligence we need to cultivate if we must have relationship bliss. Are we still together? What about conflict resolution? What about conflict resolution? How do you resolve conflict in a way that will not leave some negative deposits in the minds of your partner or people that relate with you? This is very, very important. These points I'm making are so deep that I'm just trying to see how I can quickly just give a surface explanation. But there are points that can take a whole session. But for the brevity of time, I'm just mentioning them. So when you go over these voice notes again, you can actually pick out points that you can listen to. But what about, how do you resolve conflict? Do you resolve conflict in a way that leaves your partner happy, or you resolve conflict in a way that makes them feel like giving up on the relationship? Because the issue is not that there is conflict. I've told us before, I've taught us here that there is profit in conflict. That conflict is advantageous. And I made myself clear. I said there are some certain things you will never know about your partner until there is conflict. Somebody will say, what about communication? Shouldn't we say those things in communication? Yes. Even your partner, there are things about him or her that he or she will be unable to explain until there is pressure. Until there's pressure. And when the pressure comes, that person manifests in a dimension that he or she has not manifested before, and then you will learn something new about your partner. So when you see conflict in that direction, from that perspective, you can now derive advantage from conflict. I'm not saying that you should deliberately step on the toes of your partner in order for you to press out a dimension of them that you have not seen before. That's not what I'm saying. But for any reason for which a conflict will show up, that conflict is going to teach you something about your partner. Now, let me come back home. That when that conflict arises, when there is conflict in that relationship, how do you now resolve that conflict? How do you repair that? Because from my counseling sessions, I've realized that one of the challenges that couples and individuals often face is the fact that there was conflict and the conflict was not properly repaired. So you see couples say, 10 years ago, you did this. 5 years ago, you did this. A year ago, you did this. In fact, some people even keep the time and the date. You did this so date and so time, and this was the outcome of it. Now, the reason they keep going back to those things is because those conflicts were not properly repaired. They were not properly repaired. If they were properly repaired and everybody learned their lesson, and everybody take dressing, I'm telling you that there'll be no to revisit those things. So you need to learn how to resolve conflict amicably and how to repair conflict in such a way that will not leave debris in the heart and in the minds of your partner. Are we still together? This is how to develop emotional intelligence. All right, this is how to cultivate emotional intelligence. And then I talked about accountability. All right, how accountable are you in your relationships? I am accountable to my wife. I'm accountable to my children. I'm accountable to my colleagues. I'm accountable, all right, to my subordinates. Actually, I'm accountable to them. I went to the office today, and then from the office I went to our central church for a meeting. And before I left the office, I had to explain to my staff, the young man working with me, what I was going for, to our staff. to explain to our staff what I was going to do, how long it would take me, if I was going to come back or not, and all of those things. I had to explain. That is accountability. Now, a lot do not know that accountability is part of emotional intelligence. They don't know. So you just leave the house. And in our nation today, please let me say this and say it very boldly and loudly, that in our nation today, please do not, please let me say the word, let me say it again, do not keep your partners in suspense. Let them know your whereabouts. Be accountable. You're going out, you're coming in, the things that you do. I don't want to go into too much, but even down to your finances and all, it's important to be accountable to your partner. And then part of emotional intelligence is learning communication skill. I've told us that the way you talk may not be, I mean, what you say may not be the problem, but the way you said it. All right? What you say may not be the problem. For example, you always do this. And this part of you has resurfaced again. This is me saying the same thing, but in two different ways. All right, you always do this, and then of course you toes always. All right, and then you say, when you do this, there's a way it hurts me. There's a feeling I have. There's a feeling I have when this repeats itself. These are two. This is the same scenario, but different ways of communication. This is very important. It's important that we learn communication skill. Let me say that statement again. What you say may not be the problem. The problem is how you said it. I taught us the other time about tone management, that if you must be a person who can be called a person that is emotionally intelligent, you must learn how to manage your tone. Tone management is very, very important, because how you said what you say is very, very important in communication. So are we still together? So I'm still talking about love does not automatically produce relationship skill. And if you must excel in relationship, you need to learn relationship skills. And so I'm saying that love is not enough, because love will not teach you relationship skills. It will not. So you need to now sit down, settle down, and learn relationship skills, in order for you to be able to sharpen your love for your partner. In the Holy Writ, it said that you present them a church that is without spot or wrinkle. All right. So you are meant to walk on your partner to the point where your partner will be spotless. And the process of working on them is not to show them love alone. It's to take them through the system of growth, the system of emotional training, the system of relationship skill development. And by the time all of this is done, you will discover that you are presenting to yourself a partner that is without spot or wrinkle. Are we still together? Now, by my time, this is 8:47, and I'm thinking that if I start any other point again, we may not be able to exhaust it. But I believe that you have gained something tonight. One of the challenges I often have is that I prepare beyond what the time can take, and most times I end up feeling bad, right? All right, so I hope all of those things I said here. All right, this learn what you emotionally be called a person that is emotionally intelligent. You must learn how to manage your tone. Tone management is very, very important, because how you said what you said. All right, that's where we are for tonight. I'm looking at the time, is 8:48, and if I take any other points tonight, we may not be able to exhaust it. So I'll just leave the next point for the next class, which will happen on Thursday. All right, but I know that you have been imparted. I will leave you with this story as we conclude for tonight. Yesterday, someone called me and said, what can you say about the rate of disagreement, the rate of divorce, all right, and separation in relationship in our time? What can you say about that? And I told the person, I said, well, as a relationship strategist, I'm going to answer you in two dimensions. One, I'm going to answer spiritually, and then I will answer from the riches of my experience with people. And I said to the person in summary, because of the want of time tonight, I may not be able to go into all of this deeply. And I said in summary that we have people who feel that once they get married, marriage as a title will run the relationship. That's what they feel. So they don't study again, because there are people who study books to get married, and when they get married, they don't study books anymore. They don't study books to keep the marriage. So you see people study to get married, study to know how to find your life partner, to do this, to do that, and by the time they get married, they no longer study to remain married. All right. So you have issues of, see, my partner, he was not like this when we met. Now that we got married, he has drastically changed. He didn't change. It's because he stopped growing. The knowledge he had, the information he had, perhaps they are expired, and he needs more information if he must stay in this relationship. So there's divorce, separation, and there are all of those things. But because you are connected to this platform, I want to encourage you not to stop learning, because the key to growth is learning. More information will lead to more growth. For us, information is nourishment. When you plant you go to you plant a seed, and you supply that seed manure and all of the fertilizer and all of those things, you nourish the plant. In the same manner, our own nourishment for relationship is information. The more you know, the better you become. The more information you get, the better, the more transformed you become. So I want to encourage everyone, you have this platform for free. Ensure that you take your nourishment seriously, so that your relationships can blossom. I have books on relationship you can get. Marriage and how, when couples connect, is one. Number two is relationship by design, and then number three is another kind of love. All of these books were actually written for your growth. So as many as you can lay hand on, and other books, other relationship books that you feel will be advantageous to you, as many that you can lay hand on, please do, so that you can continue to grow as a person. And as you continue to grow as a person, nothing stops your relationship bliss and relationship excellence. And I'm trusting that the Supreme Being will keep empowering us as we continue on this platform. God bless you all for coming. We'll stop here for tonight and then continue on Thursday. And I believe that this series will be of great blessing to everyone that has come on the platform. My name is Pastor Jackson Adejo, a relationship bliss expert. All right, relationship strategist. Have a wonderful evening. Over to Moderator Peace. I say Moderator Peace, Moderator Gift, to continue from here. God bless you all. Thank you.
All right, so that's where we are for tonight. I'm looking at the time, it's 8:48, and if I take any other points tonight,